All right. Hi, everybody. Yay.
Hi, everybody.
I think I like this time slot, Val. I think I
I
like this
do.
time.
I like this
Yeah,
time
yeah,
slot.
yeah. So welcome again. Welcome to everybody. Not everybody's here yet. Janet's here and Tanita. It's nice to see you. And please
And
welcome Val from Illumination Portal.
thank
Your
you.
portal to the stars. Hi, Polly. Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it. I
I
do
know.
feel like that too. Like I go into
Mhm.
each planet and hang out with them, and it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool. Pretty
I
cool.
know it really is. And there's so much going on.
Oh,
Especially yesterday was a big day when Uranus made lots of shifts. So
Ronnie
we
went
could
into
talk.
Gemini and not within 15 minutes, right before. I need to find the time of the actual shooting, right? But
Uh-huh.
they know that that's what they know they're playing the they think they know. And the thing with Uranus is that excuse me, no matter what you do, you can't predict Uranus. Uranus is going to it is going to come out with at you with surprises and shocks, and it's always all the planets, all of it's about
Mhm.
your growth on a soul level, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, there's that was
Well, and that's
time.
probably, I mean, I'm going to be one of those people that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm turning into one. And I don't think I thought that was planned. I thought the whole thing was planned.
Yeah, the whole
And
thing was planned. It
and
was.
and he was upstairs. Was never he was never in that room, from what I heard.
Well, they
So
moved him out of there. Well, I saw a video of
they
him
did. They
being.
moved the guy from down, but he didn't have any clothes on. Did you know
Oh,
that?
oh no! Oh, you mean the shooter guy? Yeah, and there's pictures of him with IDF sweatshirt on. So I already
Okay.
know is not real, is involved.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
A lot of
just
weird things. And the
oh,
weirdest thing I saw was today, and that was that the guy, I think his name is Cole something.
hmm
He lives in California, and
hmm
he was in this video in 2017 on the news.
yep, with
Did you see it?
yep,
And
yep,
Usha Vance was there
yep.
with him.
They're all connected. It's all connected. It's all uh, it's
Mhm,
you know
mhm.
what they're doing. The way I see it is first of all, they know he didn't win. Second of all, they're
Right.
treating it as the shock and awe. It's more like a reality TV show, and this is the next episode, and then there's the next episode, and here, and it's always to keep you, you know.
Yeah.
But we can all see through it. We're all just like
Well,
it's ridiculous.
he needs to show that we need a ballroom. So this is a great idea. This is a great idea.
I want to
And
know this, and well, I don't want to say that on your channel because it could maybe strike, but I'll try to say it in another way.
mhm.
Let's see.
Sorry,
Well,
guys, that was from another show. I apologize. Sarah gave away a free Reiki reading, and I forgot to take it down. I'm sorry.
okay,
Yeah,
put a free
yeah,
astrology reading in there. I'll give someone
yeah.
astrology. There you go.
Yeah,
We can do
uh-huh.
that.
Yeah,
So
that's
so we keep it legit. If you want an
mhm.
astrology reading, put astrology and we'll out. What I don't
Oh,
know
you
how
want
you
to
did
do
it.
that? All right.
Yeah,
Well, that
sure. Or just
all right.
email me moon and we'll. Uh,
All right.
it is exhausting MSD. I mean, you guys, just hear. You're going to understand when I say this. We know that he and his regime are PDF files. We know the things that they've done, and to even have conversations about day to day stuff and trying to normalize this blows. That's what really upsets me because why are we not just well,
Mhm,
May 1st, it's
mhm,
there, and we're supposed to. The general strike is going to start, and
mhm.
just so you know about a general strike, it doesn't mean that you have to quit your job or not go to work.
Oh, no.
Three
Yeah.
point four percent of the workforce will will make a significant difference. And we can be the support, right? You can support by not, say, buying from Amazon or doing things that, where you could cut out giving the billionaires more money. But we have to do something. I mean, we can't continue this. This is ridiculous. And May 1st is going to be an excellent day, but that's
Is
the
it?
full moon in Scorpio. And there's
Oh,
2 moons. So we have a blue moon in May. We have one at the end of the month, a full moon in Sagittarius. But that full moon in Scorpio, there it is, right? Pulling out the truth, showing,
yeah.
and this is something my guide said to me because we've been watching this for over a year, and I get really frustrated. And this has been the last few months. They said this to me: just pay attention and watch. Everything they do is backfiring on them, and it's just going to continue. The
Yeah.
more they try to go with the distortion and the lies and the gaslighting and stuff, the more it's just going to keep happening. And how many they've lost more court cases than, I think they've only won like very few, like 2 or 3.
You saw that a Hardee's restaurant was left abandoned by employees?
See,
They just walked out on the job, is what you're
Good.
saying, Magical Mermaid? Good for them. Good for
Good.
them. Yeah.
That all
Yeah.
that crap food. I mean, it's really poisoning us. It's poisoning our society.
Yeah.
But so much has got to change, and this is something Diana Bowles and I have been talking about the last few years. This is going to be a huge restructuring of the systems, right?
Yeah.
But I wasn't even seeing it like coming out like this because I really believed Kamala. Well, she did win, but I thought she was going to come in and change things in a higher consciousness way. But it's not working out that way. So here we are, and we've got to see all these systems. I mean, they're dissolving in front of us, but as they are, just know this: there's people already creating a better way in that area or that sector. So, and we all have that. We're the ones creating this new era. The old ways of doing things are no longer.
Yeah.
They
Well,
don't
it's
work.
interesting because if somebody said the other day, I don't remember where I heard it, but we won't recognize our country in 5 years. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So,
going to
yeah.
It's going to be fair. It's going to be for the people, by the people, literally. Like, take that literally, because with Pluto in Aquarius, and you can see just for last year how things have been just blowing up really in front of us, because that's what Pluto does. If it's not authentic, it's going to be removed, and if you have a force that doesn't want to remove it, it just gets more intense as we go along. But now that Pluto in Aquarius is trining this new Uranus in Gemini, and that's going to stay there for a while. This is a really nice energy. This is for the people. This is where human rights come in. This is going to really help us elevate out of this mess. And I really don't think it's going to be. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. It's difficult now. It is difficult, and it's going to be bumpy for a little while. But they're going to realign things where this is not going to be our reality. I don't feel like this is going to be our reality very much longer with that regime in charge. Everybody sees through what happened last night.
What really is weird to me is, if you've ever watched the show, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I have many years. I watched it when Obama, because he was a riot. But the cabinet and the people in the leadership positions, they don't go to those.
Never go.
They never go, and they have to be invited by a member of the press.
Oh, see, and they all just and it was like in the last few days that they lined that up, and they had them all go out there, and they knew what they were doing.
And then just before the whole thing started, KKK Caroline was standing there with her big pregnant belly, and
Yeah.
she says, "Yeah, there's going to be some shots fired tonight."
Shots fired. Yeah.
Now, probably what she meant was he was going to say things about people that he wanted to say, but at the same weird. The whole
Yeah.
thing is totally weird.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't, you know, and what gets me, right, is that we've lost the media. And if it wasn't for these other, you know, Keith Edwards, Aaron Pronitz, I can't say his name, I'm sorry, and these guys, Parnas, that are bringing in actual news, I think I like him the best. But there's so many, and then you listen to the astrologers, you listen to the people reading on it, and you can sense it and put it together. But our media is gone, and they were bought and paid for by the PDFs, right, and the billionaires, and and last night proves it. It even looked fake watching it.
The whole thing was nothing but a shit show. And then if you see the close up of Melania to the right, and the woman that runs the correspondence dinner, Melania's like scared to death. And the lady on the other side is big bug eyes, you know, she's surprised. And Trump's sitting there going,
you know what I thought when I saw that picture? Really, if you look how he's looking at Melania, it's like he's getting a lot of pleasure out of scaring her, because she doesn't scare easy. And to see that reaction, if you look at his face, you can tell that he's enjoying seeing her like that. He's a sicko. I mean, come on. But like, again, I don't even want to normalize any of this, because it's not normal.
Right.
What we know that he's done, and his name is in the Epstein files over 1 million times. 1 million times. Just, and those aren't even all the files.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, she might have been the actual target. You never know, because I'm sure he's paying her out the nose just to sit there beside him. You know,
oh my God, can you imagine?
She doesn't have anything to do with him.
Well, but this is what happens when you sell your soul, right? You literally, life isn't it might look like it's glamorous or it's nice, but I'm sure her day to day is not at all what she would choose to want to do.
Yeah. I did find it interesting that they picked him up and he fell down on the floor, and you know, so he's probably hurt his bone spurs. You never know. but Todd Blanche and Kash Patel, who doesn't know anything about anything, they all have different stories about what happened. Every single one of them. The whole thing is really. Oh, you say you do the same birthday as Melania, Magic Mermaid? Well, honey, but we love you.
Yeah. and you can just see, like, it's not the chart. It is because you're free will. We all have free will. The free will is what dictates how our life is.
Yeah, that's right.
Or isn't.
And I did see this. There was a picture of a guy. They said he was eating his salad, but it was either that or his dessert, which makes sense. He's just sitting at the table by himself eating his food. And everybody else is gone. Yeah, kind of crazy. Yeah. Hi, Maruda. It's good to see you. Yeah.
And then look at everybody. Have Viviani.
Yeah, we're glad to have you all here. Hi, Garnet. Yep. All right. Well, we don't really know what we're doing tonight. We may end up answering a few questions at the end, but I really wanted to know more about, I think there were 4 zodiac signs that really was supposed to feel some relief yesterday. And I think one of them was Sagittarius and one of them was.
Well, see, this is a kind, like when you read the little astrology blurbs, right? Yeah. But it really depends on your chart. It depends on where this is in your chart. I feel like when I read astrology, when we're talking about it here, I talk about it as for the collective,
it's a
right?
general sense, right?
Yeah,
right.
and this is good for the collective, this new trine that we have. Uranus going into Gemini, innovative. I just keep seeing, hearing telepathy. Like, we're going to have a better, let me clarify. We're going to have a better way of realizing what is true and what is not true.
Well, that would be nice.
In this energy, because and Gemini is fast, and Gemini is dualistic, right? It's a twin.
Yeah, right.
But with that Pluto there, like Pluto and Aquarius are about freedom, humanitarianism, everybody having a seat at the table. Uranus rules Aquarius. So you see, and then we got the Gemini. So we got 2 air signs just bringing in, I mean, downloads and I mean, inventions that we didn't even know we needed, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just starting, but this is the year. It just is. It's the year to where yesterday was the last outer planet going into its new sign. That alone is rare. 4 outer planets, 3. Well, anyway, 3 to 4 changing signs in a year. That's huge. Okay, we've just lived in these unprecedented times, you know, and this is we've not been here before, and we get to create. Cat hair on me. Sorry, we get to create the new era, the new world. But this includes your heart. Follow your heart. Your guides are in your heart. They're not going to steer you wrong. But if you don't even take the time to listen and go there, or you don't have, you know, because a lot of us are apprehensive. We're still working in the old rules and regulations that weren't ever for humanity's good, for the most part. So there's more available to us now, but it's being able to sense it, right? That new frequencies here. If you decide something, it's crazy. Listen to yourself. Decide on something small, and you will see the doors open up for you. It is amazing. I can't put it in better words than do an experiment with yourself. Do it a couple times. Do it for different things. Yeah. Just decide, yes, I live at whatever it is. I'm an artist. But decide, and you'll see, here's art school. Here's the money for art school. It's crazy. And I don't know how to explain it because I've been noticing it all year. But I didn't, you know, you don't want to say stuff. I always feel like I'm trying to say, oh, it's, you know, don't look at that. Let's look at the good stuff. But that's really what the message is I'm getting. Yeah, you have to know what's going on, but don't move in there.
Find a way to slug through that shitty stuff and get to the good stuff. So Steve, your mom's got less than 30 days till she's 100.
Oh,
awesome. We're wonderful.
We got to see birthday pictures.
Yeah. So I'm disturbed about not only David Wilcock, but I'm disturbed about 22 other scientists, ufologists. They've just disappeared or been found dead.
Yeah.
And David Wilcox thought he was reincarnation of Edgar Cayce. I remember hearing that. And actually, I'm following a lot of some of Edgar Cayce's remedies because I really have always loved Edgar Cayce. Yeah.
That's how I got started on, you know.
Yeah, a lot of us did. A lot of us got started with Edgar. Yeah. But it's, I remember, I don't know if anybody's ever heard the name Bob Lazar or if anybody, and what is it, East Coast, West Coast, or whatever with Art Bell. He used to do the radio show back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people disappeared. And, or, you know, they were found mysteriously murdered, you know, and it's just, when they disappear, I get a different feeling about it than I do when they're found murdered. Yeah, because they could have just like maybe gone in a UFO somewhere.
Yeah, you never know, right?
Yeah. But this is a little bit over the top with the amount of people and
And not a word from the regime either. You see how that works? So to me, that's just when they're not talking about something,
Mm-hmm.
they're probably involved in some way.
That's very true.
And
That's very true.
and and these are, I hear these are scientists that are like have the knowledge of
quantum physics and all kinds of,
like all this stuff that would bring real solutions to us. Say how to make the water clean. All these, there's so many solutions, and my team always says, as soon as this clicks, whatever, and we're really more stabilized in the higher frequencies, the cleanup is very easy. They're here to help us clean the water, the air, the soil. I mean, but I don't know what that is. I get this information, but I don't get dates with it,
Right.
I wish.
Well, prior to getting on here, there's so many things changing. Some of us are gaining our gifts. A lot of us are having aha moments. There's a lot of shifting, but we're also having the opposite things happen, like animals are dying younger. Animals are having weird things happen to them, or having cancers and having other things like that. And we're also seeing the truth come out about somebody like Benjamin Netanyahu, who had a prostate tumor, and he finally told everybody that.
That's still, I still have. Has he been seen? I hear that he says stuff. But from the moment that Iran war started, I always get he's transitioned, but he's not like how we transition. The heartless soulless go to like a holding pattern. And that's all I see when I see him.
Well, he could have been in chemotherapy and all that at that time too. I mean, not suggesting that you are wrong.
Yeah, I don't know everything by no means, but I was always wondering, is he? And then I'll ask my pendulum, and they're saying he is. Is he on Earth? I ask, is Benjamin Netanyahu on Earth? And I get a no.
Well, they have a lot of lookalikes that they bring in for certain things. Yeah,
and he's
unbelievable.
That's Zionism stuff. Oh my God, what they're doing to. Have you read what they do to those Palestinians in prisons and stuff?
No, but I can imagine. I think I have heard some. I just had to step away a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't go deep dive in there. I mean, unless you. Well, the more people that know how that regime works, but they got our regime to go into this war for him. Benjamin Netanyahu, they always wanted to get Iran. And because they want to do the Greater Israel Project, as they're doing the Project 2030 here. Do you get any of that going through? Do you see that?
If we could just get people like Ghislaine Maxwell and or if we could just get this whole thing where people believed everything, then this whole thing would topple down. Then I don't think they can get through that, some of their agenda that they're working on. Right. But I also think that these people are nothing more than lapdogs. That's all. Every single one of them. They have no testicles. They have no, no ovaries. They don't have any guts. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so hard, because that's the thing. Okay, we'll go back to the Uranus Gemini. Not only your skills and abilities are going to come online, we're going to know. I don't know why I keep getting that. Who's who? We can see through a lot of what's going on now, and the thing is, I get it. Most people are in shock. I mean, you just heard that they're PDF files and they're doing these horrid things, But come on, that's worldwide. Are we going to allow that to be our supposed leaders?
But do you think this has been going on for millennia and we just didn't know all this stuff.
This is what I knew at a very young age, and and only well, a lot of this stuff not in a as severe as way as some people, but a lot of this stuff did happen to me, and I thought it was me. When this happens to you as a kid, you don't think it's happening to anybody else. You
Right.
just think it's your fault, and you don't know until later. But my whole awakening journey was about realizing that there is very dark stuff here, because I was so naive. Even to this day, sometimes, I just don't see people like that.
Yeah, I try not to either, ever.
Right.
Yeah.
But I had to learn by feel and sense who is authentic and who isn't. And that was part of my journey.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Yeah.
But yes, I get at least the last 26,000 years they have been here, and they've been in control, and they've had all the toys.
But it seems to have gotten like worse and worse and worse and worse. And they keep reincarnating the bad guys,
Actually, it was really horrific back then. And if you look at the if you have a minute and you want to go there at what the Palestinian prisoners, or even if they're not prisoners, what they do to them, it's you realize that there's absolutely no heart, no soul, and you're dealing with people who believe that they're the authentic ones, but they're not. Right. They won't even allow DNA tests is not real. So that's for a reason, because not all of them are the actual bloodline, and most of them. And if everyone knew that, well, they've had every country duped, though, right now, because they pushed it as far as they did with Trump and Iran and all that. And now everybody's seeing through what it is that's really going on. So I hope we all wake up and see it.
Well, I just, you have to hope that the military opens their mouth, because they're not eating. They're being treated like animals. They're losing all kinds of weight out there on those ships. They're being told illegal things to do. And I know there were some Marines that were doing that conscientious objector thing. But he wants to now have televised firing squad killings for people that are on.
This is the reality TV show.
Yes.
Hunger Games and human hunting. That they enjoy that. This is what brings them pleasure.
I don't get it.
I don't either, and we'll never understand it.
No, we'll never understand it because we don't think that way.
But we have to. I mean, we don't have to do anything, but it would benefit us to really look at how things are and know that the best thing here that's going on as we raise in frequency, which we are all doing. We're always straddling third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimension, and we stabilize every time we go up the spiral. They cannot raise in frequency. They cannot. So once you are in a higher frequency, you really don't even see this stuff. Like, I wouldn't even see any of that if I didn't check the news. You know what I mean?
Right. I do know. Yeah.
I don't know.
So I pulled a couple of cards here on this whole thing, and I get the open dialogue has to really take place between those of us, and it is taking place. But people, I mean, I'm looking at something like Blue Sky, or I'm looking at, I won't say Facebook. I don't feel that good on there. But let's say Blue Sky. I see people, and there's so many people aligned with the same idea. Or last night when that craziness went down in DC, there wasn't one person that I saw on there that said it was true, that it was a real thing. So our communication and the way we work with each other brings together this idea that this tipping point will come up, and we will hopefully get over it. But we've got travel listed here, and I'm thinking that the ideas have to travel. And
and
it's like they have to travel, and it isn't just on the news, because people don't watch it because they don't want to watch it. It's got to go mouth to hand to mouth. And with this, we'll get an information surge and a data
Yes.
dump. And so it's like, yeah, it's up to us to pass that. It's almost like the Underground Railroad.
Exactly. And I see it as like, you know how you see mycelium or tree
Yes.
roots?
Yep.
But I see it as synopsis, like everybody's just like connecting like that. I don't know. They're saying it's more of like a mind, the internet of the mind. I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And they said to me the other day, I kept getting this. Well, I've been getting this for a few months. Faster than the speed of light. No, faster than the speed of thought. And that's what I keep getting. And I'm like, okay, is that true? Or I'm looking it up, and they're like, your minds create by imagination, by what
Yes.
you tell yourself. It is so important that you check your perceptions, your beliefs, your words, your understanding, because you're forming your entire reality.
That's right.
Your
Everything starts with a thought.
That's right.
Everything. I remember hearing one time, see this pen? It started with a thought.
That's right.
Somebody had to say, oh, I want it to be plastic. I want it to have white on the bottom and this and the plastic, you know.
Yeah.
And we have, that's how things get birthed. So if we can think of it that way, then we would try to think of a good way to do things.
Oh my God. And those cards are so cool because they really resonate with that. But then I keep, I'm getting, like there are brilliant people creating some really good things. And I think that's why some of these scientists are moving, no longer with us, because they have created some things that would really benefit humanity. But I keep seeing a new social media, like it is like, seriously, I know his says True Social, but there's going to be, everybody will know that this social media is authentic. And I don't know how, I don't know who's going to do it. I keep saying to my kids, create another, and they just look at me like, yeah, sure. We'll just we'll create a new social media.
Well, yeah, I love human Wi-Fi, because really, I remember being told many, many years ago that we talk, but we shouldn't have to. Everything should be able to be telepathic, and that's the way that that people have said aliens will communicate with them. It isn't like you have to worry about the language. It's communicated through whatever it is in the brain. So,
and don't we do that when we're in Akashic records or mediumship? You're not always, I don't hear words all the time. All my senses are engaged in whatever way that information comes, it comes. And I'm sure I miss a lot. I don't see it all, feel it all, but that's just it. We've been in training for this entire lifetime, probably even the ones, one or two before. But as we connect into these higher frequencies, it's a whole different physics game. And we have, it's more ease. It's not struggle like we've been taught.
It's very Eastern philosophy, Zen. Yeah. It's like flowing down the river. When this is the biggest problem with Western society, in my opinion, and that is that we were told we have to make everything. We have to work hard, and we have to make everything push. And sometimes you just got those 10 of swords. You just got to let drop the friggin' thing and
let it go. And you're so right. Like, we are human. We are creators. The ultimate life would be to put all your energy and into your passions, into what you love. It shouldn't be, and that's another thing I saw very young. I was like, why are people going to work and being miserable all day? What's the point of that? Where I knew I was at work at 11, just selling papers on the side of the road, but it is what it is. It was all the construct, all the programming, all the brainwashing. They know what would benefit humanity. They know, and they don't do it. In fact, they do everything they can to suppress us some more.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you think about the habits that we have picked up as people, eating crappy food, getting
Where,
drunk, taking drugs,
where did
all
all
those
that
things.
come from?
Yeah, yeah, it's
They,
programming.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they create
Mhm.
the crappy food and and sell it to us at a very expensive price, and then lower the put
Yeah.
less in the bag or whatever.
Mhm.
Alcohol, they know alcohol is the number one thing to get disconnect you from spirit,
Mhm.
disconnect
Yeah.
you.
It's
And
interesting they call it spirits, isn't it?
yeah, and as a bartender, I was a bartender most of my life. You could see people just change. And then when I
Yeah.
started really clicking into play, I could see darkness jumping into people, and I'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this isn't good," But this is again was part of my
Yeah. But if
journey,
you're learning what you had to learn.
what I had to
So here's a
learn.
question for you because you have been a bartender. I was always told that if I wanted like a rum and Coke, I would say Bacardi and Coke, let's say, and they would
Mm,
make me, and it would be delicious. The first one's so
mhm.
delicious. And that once I got that in my mouth, which I haven't drank for years,
Me
they
either.
would just put barred rum in, the cheap
Mhm.
shit, and the Coke because
Oh,
they were
see, I
so
didn't.
yummy.
I couldn't stand that. If I
Oh,
was
okay.
bartending with any unethical people like that, as I was usually a manager or supervisor anywhere I was anyway, I'd
Uh-huh.
fire 'em. I'd fire 'em immediately
Okay.
for doing that
Okay.
kind of stuff.
All
I've
right.
seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff for sure, but
Yeah.
I would never participate. And again, right? Everything we do in every moment, we have a free will. We have a free will to make a choice, and
Yeah.
you can either choose to screw people over or steal their money. I've seen bartenders just take people's money right off the counter. I'd be like, no, 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 we don't do that here. Put
Yeah.
it back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, there can be like if you were doing those things, that's ethical and that's your integrity speaking. So even though you may have been in a situation where there might have been lower energy people,
right.
you were going to stay in your higher vibration so that you could carry them with you.
And that's how my team taught me. It's like
Hmm.
you want to play in the mud, you're going to get mud. And
Yeah.
you're young and and I would never hurt anybody or take their stuff, but I
No.
was pretty
Right.
rough
Right.
on myself, and I'd be stuck in the mud. And it was all about the journey. Really was about integrity and
Hmm.
authenticity,
Yep.
because you have to show up who you are. There's no other, there's no one else can do your life for you but you.
You.
And
That's
you can
right.
either do it easy or you
Hmm.
can give
Yeah.
yourself strife
What a
and struggle.
what a shame. Yeah, if you have the choice. So Maruda watched a video that said when our population gets too high, we emit a destructive frequency. So the high kings have to orchestrate massive die-offs.
Well, I got a
Wow.
couple of things about that. This,
Okay.
all the souls wanted to come in during this time period, 2012.
Hmm.
We're raising the frequency. It is in the precession of the equinoxes as we go to the golden age, is what it's called. And it's in a bunch of ancient texts. But
Yeah.
what got me about that, and my team would talk to me about it, and I'd say, "Great, we're going to raise the frequency." All this, I said, "So we're just going to do this circle of this. Oh, you're in the golden age. Oh, now you're down back in hell. Oh, now." And they said, "Well, that's a choice, but this is supposed to break us through out of that." There are a lot of souls that will stay into the third dimension and still
Hmm.
want to, on a soul level, learn the things that you do
Yeah.
here.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, but it is a quite big 8 billion people is a lot of people on the planet for this planet, and that is for this time period. What I got also was that the lifetime, this one, the one before, and possibly the one before that, we've been working on releasing the density in cells for the last 26,000 years. So all the
Okay.
pain, trauma, things like that, because if you don't get that out of your energy bodies, you can't raise in frequency because it holds you down.
Hmm.
So and it's slow, and it was a process, and it was an unraveling. But now we're in that newer
Yeah.
frequency, and
We're
things
in
go
the newer
faster.
frequency. Yep. And you're right, Debbie Brady. It's not a one and done. Awakening is a process. That makes a lot of sense. Hi, Gina.
Okay.
I want to also put up a couple of these other comments. What a great book in
Oh, I love that
conversation.
book. Love
That's
that
great.
book.
I mean, it's got more than one. It's so good. But
Yeah.
Neil says to God, I hardly drink anymore. That a little isn't that bad, is it? God responds, alcohol is poison. No amount's okay. Well, it's the same. I'm sure they'd say the same thing about processed food if God was going to weigh in on it. But you know, it's one of those things that we think, well, a little bit isn't going to hurt anything, and you know, you know, you can sort of turn yourself around, but not in a very swift manner, I guess is the best way to say it. Concerning imbibing alcohol, is that amongst some of the people, Hasidic Jews, there is a belief that drinking alcohol elevates spirits. But you know what I want to say, Hinda? I feel like it's like the Passover, or it's like the celebration, and it's the wine and the bread or whatever it is, like we do with or how you break bread and have confession or whatever it is in Christianity. I don't even do it anymore, so I don't understand it. But it's like this isn't. They're not going to sit up there and chug the whole bottle or something. So it's just fascinating how different things are viewed.
Yeah, and different, you know, people will all find all kind of excuses to make something, you know, right. This is good for you. But I'm going to tell yes, it elevates your spirit for the first couple drinks. But as soon as you have that one too many where no one can ever know what that line is, even yourself, then there you are. You're on the other side of that. And that's where I've never seen anyone be violent that smokes weed. I've never had to break up fights. I've never had to, you know, I've had to do so many things because of alcohol. And I mean, just horrible things. This guy punched his girl right in her face, right in front of me. And I was, you know, I was one of those people. I'll pick up a bottle and bust it over your head if you're hurting somebody. I'm gonna, you know. And I had, thankfully, in this place, I had security, and I called security, and they got rid of them. But see, usually, and this is the sad part, because they're both drinking. She's gonna forgive him. Oh, I don't want to press charges, and that cycle, you can't step in. And if you do, you're the bad guy, and it's just. You know, there's just a lot to alcohol. Alcohol isn't just a one day thing.
Right. Absolutely not. You know, Hinda, I came to the conclusion a number of years ago that there was no such place as hell as well. And I think hell is other people.
Yeah. Or not knowing yourself is hell.
Well, that's true.
If you don't take the time to know yourself, you're good with yourself, and to love yourself, accept yourself, be an authentic person, you're creating an environment that's not conducive for life. For your life.
It certainly isn't. Yeah. Garnet, you don't believe we can go on existing in the human form? Your dad used to say the age of the silicon man, diamond.
I have heard the word diamond probably 30 times this week. It's interesting.
Really?
And it's always associated with the pressure of this makes the diamond. And I'm like, what are you trying to say? Well, I'm asking, they say we're all diamonds. And that is exactly what's happening. The pressure of everything in these last 26,000 years, or however many lifetimes you've had, has created you as a diamond. I mean, you know, we're just doing this. We're divine, spark of the divine, eternal beings. This is just a part of the journey. What would you do as a divine being all the time in spirit if you didn't have somewhere to go and explore things? And
that's true. Well, the other thing is, I love this saying, don't believe everything you think. Because it's not, it's very different. So they are mind altering for a reason. Be careful to identify with anything that mind produce. Yes, like AI. You're absolutely right. It does conform to what you think is true all the time. Once it gets to know you, it really conforms.
It really
So
gets you.
it
Yeah, you feel
really
like
gets,
that's your best friend there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and the thing is, right? Yes, the mind. Okay, but you can control the mind too. You
Hmm.
know, if we're
Yeah,
allowing the heart to lead, which is that's really the only way this works. The heart, we spend our the heart makes the decisions. The heart says, "I would like to have spaghetti tonight." Mind goes and knows how to make the spaghetti. I mean, this is truly how we're to live, and it seems so easy, you know, because I say this to people that I'm not sure if they're connected with their heart, and they just kind of look at me like, "What are you talking about?" You know, like,
hmm,
how
hmm.
does my heart have any answer to anything? But that's really where your soul is. It's where
That's
your
right.
key is.
So, I love that you mentioned here, Debbie, about the mind and what, and I really do think that belief is something that makes it so in our minds. And
Mhm.
what's really been interesting for me is I'm not allowed to teach diversity anymore at the college level. You know why? DEI. And so they have readjusted some of the classes. And what they're doing is we're looking at bias, assumption, sociocultural factors, and things like that.
Mhm.
And I'm getting these replies from these young people that are like, I never thought of it that way before. And
Mm.
it's not that it's a bad thing. And then they said they couldn't believe that somebody had a totally different perception of a story or a film or some music that wasn't like theirs. And that's because we
Yeah.
don't critically think about anything. And then you've got somebody on one
Oh,
side of the world and the other side of the world, and they don't have to agree on everything, but
yeah.
why don't you look at it this way and see what you think about it? And it's like, oh, I never thought of it that way before. It's like that's how we learn and grow. We
Yeah.
don't have to get stuck in this mind that's so concrete,
Isn't
you
that
know?
the truth? And the mind was trained. Okay, so you know
Right.
from birth you
Yeah.
were trained by those your parents, then society. And when you become an adult is when you know, do I really believe in this? I still shock myself. I'll be like, oh wow, I didn't realize I was holding on to that type of belief, and it wasn't, you know, something that was
Yeah.
beneficial to
It
me.
was holding me back. It was
Yeah,
not, yeah, it was, and the opposite of alternative facts, because
right.
facts, there is no such thing. Maria, I love this. We
I
need
love
to know
Maria.
more discussing what we can change our thoughts. Thoughts don't lead us just because we have them. We can change automatic.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
I remember somebody once saying, what's the definition of insanity? And of course, it's doing the same thing over and over. That's what Einstein said. But there's another thing. Why do we have nuclear weapons? Why do people say, "Oh, that's a good thing to have"?
This
Why?
is what gets me. It's like all these things that have been created for humanity that are so detrimental to all life on this planet is
Right.
it can't be created by something with a heart and a soul. This is now that's my I'm very strict on that belief. You're
Mhm.
either creating solutions and beneficial things for humanity, or you're not human, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Now, that might seem a little rough and strict, but I'm telling you, I've seen some stuff. And why would you do that to the place that you live, eat, breathe, and have families?
Yeah.
Because they don't
Yeah.
care. It isn't about that for
Absolutely.
them.
Yeah. What I think is important to say also is that I would never want anybody to um, there are people that want you to follow them, that want you to hang on their every word, that
Yeah,
want you to,
yeah,
and that's the least thing I would ever. So anything that I might think, or even Valerie might think, or even you might think, it should be used in your own discernment.
that's
Don't
right.
allow somebody else to tell you that you're wrong, because it's your truth, not theirs.
That's
But
right.
I really think that that learning, lifelong learning, and it doesn't mean you have to go pay money to go to college, but find the way to learn and be open to the learning of the new.
Yeah.
It's vital.
That so many doors are boom, 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 you know?
Yeah.
And this is
Mhm.
just it, right? Perception matters.
Yeah.
I remember being young and thinking, well, why doesn't everybody see that? It's so
Mhm.
obvious. And I'd
Yeah.
say stuff to the adults. And I would get in trouble, and I'd be like, why am I in trouble? I'm telling the truth. I didn't understand that it was all, you know,
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
you get ahead, is by being deceptive and vague and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. And I was like, and I'd have adults say, get in line, get on, you'll never get
Mhm.
anywhere if you don't play by
Yeah.
these rules and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I don't want to play
It's
by
like
them.
telling your kids when they're little, "Never, never, never lie." And
Yeah.
then the doorbell rings and you say, "Tell them we're not here."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, mom's right there. Yeah. No,
Oh my god.
it's so
I know.
twisted.
It is
Everything.
twisted. It's like mixed messages all the time. How would we even know for a fact that everyone you meet is another human? Truth.
That's what I'm saying to you.
That's
I had
right.
a very
Yeah.
long journey on figuring that out. Not that I have it down pat, but I
Right,
can
right.
pretty much see somebody and there's nothing there. There's nothing
Well,
in there.
not only that, but I don't know about you guys, but back in the 80s, I thought Ted Bundy would look pretty hot for a man in the 80s. He was a pretty
Mm,
handsome guy. Curly
mm.
hair.
Well, that's why he got all the girls. Yeah.
Of course he did,
Yeah.
because we think that bad people have to look this way, like the greasy spoon guy, with a beard and ragged hair, and so all our perceptions, we have to also tap into that gut intuition and
Yeah.
make that work for us. Yeah.
And and look, all of those people getting caught now abusing children, they're mostly MAGA. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
It's the truth.
So Sandra, you'd get kicked under the table for speaking the truth?
I got
Wow.
kicked, I got hit, I got sent to my room, yeah, don't come
Mhm.
back till it's dark out, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, depending on when you were brought up, I mean, during my bringing up, and I love my mother, but
Yeah, me
you didn't air your dirty laundry, so you couldn't tell the truth about that kind of like somebody got somebody
Mhm,
pregnant, or oh, don't
mhm.
bring that up. So you've got that you're trying to unlink as well in
And
your
it's
in your
hard, right? Because
yeah,
we're
yeah,
disconnecting from all this false information going, how in the
right,
world, now you
yeah,
can see through it. And I'm not saying go up and, tell everybody every
right,
truth in the world, but the truth matters. Being authentic, being a
mhm,
person of integrity matters.
right. It
And
does. It does. Yeah.
using your and I never understood this either. It seemed very simple to me to put myself in other people's shoes, which I didn't realize
Absolutely,
people can't do
absolutely.
that. You know?
I remember I had a video, about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago that I showed in a class, and most of my students were in their younger age, and I had a guy in there that was probably in his 40s, and I think he
Mhm.
was probably he was a veteran or something, I don't know, but I was showing him a TED Talk, and in
Mhm.
the TED Talk, they were talking about empathy, and they were showing like an Iraqi family and what they were
Mhm.
going through. They lost their soldier son or whatever, and how hard it was and everything,
Mhm.
and how that it was important for us to have empathy because they didn't believe the same thing we did. Doesn't mean they weren't going through that same
Right.
thing we were. He got
Right.
up and he said, "You're teaching us wrong things," and he walked out the door. And I thought to
Mhm.
myself, that is so sad to me because I'm sure he had children
Yeah.
as well himself, and that's how he's representing. So it's just
And
really
that's
sad.
just it. Just think of how so many people are brought up in these really like extremist beliefs,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
not having empathy for somebody else. It I just don't get it,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yep.
we
That's true.
we you know we are in a strange time in the world
We
because
are.
that we're splitting, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
some are staying here, some are elevating up,
Yeah.
and and again, we can't tell people what to do. Like I can't say, "Oh, here's what's best for you." Now, if
That's
you
right.
ask me for a reading and you're
Yep.
asking questions and I'm
Yep.
connected to the guides, that's when I answer. But I can't say,
That
"Oh,
might not be what your reality is, or
right,
that might not be part of your soul contract.
that's
That's
right,
why I say to people, it's okay to ask questions, and it's
yeah,
okay to understand that this is what we're getting right now. But ultimately, the decision and the knowledge is yours,
it's
not
yours."
ours.
That's
We're
right.
just reading energy. That's all we're
That's it.
doing.
And that
Yeah.
energy can change at any minute. And again, you have free will.
Mhm.
So if
Mhm.
your God suggested something, and that would be for your highest best, because that's how I talk to them.
Right.
And then I've done this, and I'll ignore it. Well, then it gets a little harder. Then you're like, oh, okay. So you really do want me? Like when they wanted me to do a channel, I was like, what are you talking about? You've lost your
And
mind.
me, it's like, "Oh, that makes sense. Why don't I do it?"
Like I can't even
Oh.
speak.
Mhm.
Just I was just like, what do I say? What do you want? Tell help people with
Mhm.
self love and self acceptance. And I was like, oh, that's all.
Yeah. That's right. So, yes, I think, Maria, what bothers me the most isn't
Yeah,
necessarily any of the military, it's the ICE agents and their agenda and how they believe, that people are animals or beasts or whatever.
you
And
know where they train? They train in Israel.
I know
Is not real.
the
Sorry.
Mossad. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where ice trains. And okay, but look, we had this this distorted system for so long that it just keeps branching off and getting bigger.
Hmm.
That's where we the people have to put our foot down and say no, we're
Yeah.
not. Why do we need all these detention centers, concentration camps, whatever? I don't trust
Now
nothing.
they're doing, did you know they're also doing the where they're not eating, the people in these,
Yes,
they're doing
hunger
hunger
strike.
strikes. Yeah. And these poor children, it's just, I
The
don't know.
damage that's been done in the last year by this regime is just like, and I pray,
And others in the world,
yeah,
really.
throughout the
Netanyahu,
world,
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I'll say that like with my guides, how do you not keep how do you not just know that everybody is in there
Hmm.
on their soul's journey, and it's like,
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
it sounds easy to say, but my God, I can't imagine.
Yeah. I think I certainly don't want to come across as being judgmental. It's one
Right.
of the things that it bothers me. But there are some things that, my way isn't always the highway, my way or the highway. It isn't like that. But at the same time, when you can see someone destroying themselves or destroying those around them, you can't help but be judgmental
Mm.
because they're lacking empathy, they're lacking compassion, they're lacking. It's like they're lacking
Connection.
awareness, or just, yeah. There's
They don't
nothing
want
there.
the connection,
Mhm.
and that's it, right? It's not
Mhm.
my. It's more discernment. Yeah. Do
Absolutely.
I get judgy on things like when it comes to PDF files and stuff like that?
Mhm.
There's no
Mhm.
way I'm not gonna be okay with
Yeah.
that. Never. It's just never gonna happen.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's judgmental, but I say there's a there's a basic foundation that we can all agree on where we can
Mhm.
all grow and thrive from, and they
Mhm.
know this and they've known it, but they don't do it. So we got to pull that in and make it happen ourselves. We can't rely on the
Right.
leader.
It's up to us. We're not, no one's coming to save us, and we've been
No,
saying this for a long time.
right.
And so, but by being here and participating in community,
Yeah,
there's
certainly.
an awareness and an understanding that this is, Linda Grindle said it, and I agree. This is a battle between good and evil. It's not
Exactly.
it's not blue and red and black and
No.
white.
I say that all the time. Your choices right now are freedom or enslavement. There's your
Mhm.
choice, and
Yeah.
you got to stand with you, you know, and it's not going to be easy maybe to
Right.
stand there in your truth and
Yeah.
speaking for freedom. And I think
Yeah.
that's a lot of this. Yeah, we're in shock, but we're also very comfortable here.
Mhm. We
I'm
are.
not going to deny I'm not, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. And I agree. They have agreed to do these things to be teachers. And that we were talking backstage about the
Right.
Holocaust,
Right.
and we were saying, who would ever, if you've ever said to somebody, well, if there's a God, why was there a Holocaust? And we said, those people chose that life. We get a lot of people going, oh, come on. Why would you choose that? So you don't really say that, because it sounds so stupid,
It sounds cold, right? But it's
It
true.
does.
Each soul does choose their path. They choose
Hmm.
it.
Hmm. Yep. That's right.
And we may not, it may not make any sense to us, but see, this is where I get an argument with my guides about this. So I don't think children choose to be molested. Okay, that's
No.
just, that doesn't make any sense to me. And how do you rectify, how does that ever become
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
solved? How do we solve that?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one's self integrity means everything, really does. And we know we can.
Abusers tend to, and those abused tend to be abusers if they haven't been able to sort out how not to be. And
Yeah,
it doesn't mean it has to happen, but
yeah,
it seems like if you don't work through that abuse and you don't understand, not that you can ever understand it, but if you can heal from some of that, then you're able to not turn around and be that abuser. So,
right. And I think we all go through these stages, well, and I don't like to label myself this, but I had to work
mhm.
through all of that. And
Yeah,
it's not easy. And I never thought I'd ever get to the point where I would, and I don't use the word forgive. I use the word accept. I accept
yeah,
what happened. I accept
right.
that it was that person. And, you know, the hate or revenge or negativity only hurt me more. So
Sure.
it's like you get to a
Well,
point
it
where,
does. They
yeah,
sing it. If
yeah,
you're angry with somebody, you're really like taking a hot poker and sticking it in your eye. You're the one getting
yeah,
it, not them.
really
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
And I didn't realize that for a very, very long time. And
yeah.
once I let it go, man, it was just so
Yeah,
freeing. I couldn't
it
believe
is.
that I could feel that way. I didn't think I could get to that level of, it wasn't like, give them love or forgiveness. I don't like the word forgiveness. I just don't.
Mhm,
It just doesn't
mhm,
sit right with me. But
mhm.
at the same time, hurt people. But I did a lot of this healing. I did a lot of this deep diving. And
Mhm.
we were all brought up in the same twisted, uh, distorted values that we were told were the American values, the best in the world,
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I know it. It's what is it? Ethnocentrism.
oh,
It's
yeah, like that. And
ethnocentrism, where my country's better than yours.
yeah,
That kind of. Yeah, yeah. Which is crazy.
and it's a
Yeah.
lot to see through, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm. It is.
and the only way I would have been able to do that, I mean, that was it's given to me by my guides a long time ago, is where you step back and you become the neutral observer and
Uh-huh.
observe.
Right.
Don't
Right.
judge, don't point at it. What do you feel? I mean, really, once you take yourself out of it and you look back
Right.
at it,
Yep.
and you can see, yes, the only thing that's been constant in these last 26,000 years, two things: constant abuse, but at the other end was that constant unconditional love. That
Hmm.
unconditional love is always going to prevail. I
Hmm.
don't feel that
Hmm. Yeah.
we're
Well,
going backwards now. What
I
did
could see
oh
those
yeah.
people giving her a standing ovation. I mean, I imagine Mother Teresa got the same thing. and a few others. But yeah. Well, we can't solve all the world's problems here this evening, but it sure has been nice, and it was very organic. Thank you for who's here and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And Sandra and Maria is grateful. Thank you for working on that aspect that I noticed for another, and just being so kind to each other in the chat. So thank you all.
Sandra.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hi, Jane. You're the feral child. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, a feral child. There you go. I mean,
yeah,
it's a hell of a journey.
It is. It is. But we got each other. We found each other. And that makes a big difference. Yes, yes. Everybody have a beautiful week ahead. Take care.
Okay.
Thank you, Valerie. Bye-bye.
Thank you.